Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Common Sense with Adam. And before my time here, I hosted a podcast called Be More Podcast, which still lives on iTunes and Spotify, so check it out if self-help, self-improvement is of interest to you in any way. The idea of the podcast was simply this notion of self-improvement, this notion of wanting to be more than you were yesterday is really the bottom line. Not comparing, and this is important, not comparing yourself to somebody else and then wanting to be more so you could look like more of that person. Not at all. It's the idea of comparing simply yourself to your yesterday self and sort of using that barometer to put yourself on a trajectory till you're more wholesome, you're more of a person really that you were meant to be. And you know what I've learned in hosting the podcast for probably close to 2 years is that this idea of self-improvement or self-help is really something that can only be generated or initiated from the inside. It's not something I could convince you of, or anybody could convince you of for that matter. This idea of self-help, like you could only help yourself if you are the person truly seeking or desiring help. So, and that was a little shocking to me, this whole idea that how could someone listen to something they agree with? In some way it might be common sense, in other ways it might be profound, but the bottom line is that you would agree with something that you read, with something that you've heard, yet you look in the mirror, you turn around, and you walk away to your same old life. Like that concept, and maybe because I'm such a rational human being, I just think in that lane, and I realize not everybody's in the same way, but that was a hard thing for me to swallow, a hard thing for me to put self-help in front of my friends, self-discipline in front of really anyone who I would recommend it to, yet they're not someone who raised their hand asking for any help in that area. So again, check it out if this is something that you're interested in, but don't if you're not. But today, I'm only here to invite you on a new month's challenge. Here we are in February, and just like most of you joined me for my January challenge and revised your own tasks, goals as you saw, needed. But today I want to put another list of 5 that I believe are just a good thing for me as a person, and probably for most of you to have these small disciplines in your life that seemingly insignificant, but in the long term or big picture mode, they ultimately make a big difference. So February will be another month of putting in focus, putting right in front of you those 5 things that you just would wish upon anybody. I'll put it like this. I heard it said, be the kind of person your dog thinks you are. So as we sort of come through these 5 things of mine, again, feel free to cross out and add a list that perhaps is more relevant to you. But the bottom line is, this is about self-discipline, so put together a list that's relatively small. You're welcome to take mine, add, revise as needed. The bottom line is that we're on the journey of self-discipline. So whatever you master yourself to do, have the courage to follow through for a 30-day run. So on the heels of this new year, I want us to first think about doing something different. I'm not asking for the circumstance to change, I'm not looking for you to change your weather, your spouse, even your yesterday's decisions, but simply focus on doing something different for yourself. You know, the definition of crazy is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting things to change or the results to be different. So I'm inviting you to be sane with me for yourself, to where we're going to do something different, to where we're going to expect the results to also be different. So that's the goal here. Here's my list, and this is simply a list of things that I think are a good idea for me, maybe some of you. 1, 5-minute massage for my wife, Savannah. She loves massages. I don't really like doing them, but I don't hate doing them either. So it's just something I don't really think about it, but it means so much for her. And 5 minutes is so small that I know I can pull it off, and it's gonna make her so happy. And there's really only one person in this world that I wanna make so happy. Everybody else is, it'd be nice to, but it's not imperative. But her happiness is that for me. So hey, a 5-minute commitment for 30 days, 28 days in fact, shortest month of the year. Why not? Kind of bless her in this way. Number 2, run 1 mile a day. Pretty simple. Number 3, practice doing a split every day. So this is a challenge my wife took on 2-3 weeks ago to try to do a split. And I've been sort of watching her, and it made me want to also. Like, she's just doing these stretching exercises for 5 to 10 minutes a day. Nothing crazy, but it just seems like a good idea. And I think I could pull it off. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but I think I could pull it off. So here comes my split practice for the next 30, maybe even 60 days, for as long as, maybe not for as long as it takes, but I at least want to commit to 60 to 90 days to see if, God, can I do a split? Maybe. Item 4 is a 5-minute daily prayer. I'm a Christian man, so it is important for me to keep prayer, to speak to God on the daily, top of mind. So that's why it's here. And item 5 is ending showers cold. This one I've done before, a few months ago, and it was tough. It is a good idea. I'm gonna do it again. I watched a video of some Russian too, and I forget even the city or village where they sort of live at a -50, pretty much norm, -30 to -50 Celsius. And every day there's sort of a crew of individuals that take a bath in the lake. It's a wild idea, but they swear by it being the reason why they have not been sick for over 20-something years. And I'm not someone, at least Savannah says I'm not someone that's prone to get sick, but I do get sick like once a year, and in my opinion, it's one too many times. So I think this will help me with that. I want to be able to, in fact, pre-COVID, I had a cold, and I went to see my doctor, and I noticed she didn't have a mask. She didn't try to protect herself in any way. And I just asked her, what if you get sick? I feel bad for you. And she literally said she hasn't been sick in over a decade. And that just made me think that there's something to it. So if it's possible for her, maybe it's possible for me. So when I heard about these Russians doing this crazy thing, as well as Wim Hof, that's another name if you're interested in this. This is an individual who literally doesn't get a cold, flu, pretty much everything stays away from him. And it's this practice of daily taking a bath in cold ice, ideally water. I'm not quite there yet, but just keeping the shower cold. So I invite you if you're up for the challenge. And that's it. So the premise of the talk is self-discipline. Work harder on yourself than you work on anything else. Because when we work on ourselves, we become more of the people we were meant to be. So think about the kind of person you want to be and exercise. Do everything you can in your power to keep it front and center in your life, so you can gravitate, so you can grow, so you can evolve into this individual that your dog thinks you are. That's it. Thanks for tuning in. Hit like and subscribe. Please do. It helps a ton.